So this is a pre-recorded show today. I may be in the live chat. This is a premiere. So I may be in the live chat talking with you all right now. But I am on vacation. I'm taking a 2-day vacation. I never take a vacation. We're heading to California. So I want you all to enjoy a very short video. I don't know how long. I say it's short, and I might go a long time. I'm not sure yet. And I'm not even sure yet what I'm going to talk about. But we're going to hit the intro. And when we get back, I'll make up something. Here's the intro. Fantasy Football Show apparently begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Take a lap.
So I thought today we'd maybe, first I want to brush on the Moon Men. I added the Moon Men last night. If you guys hit 1,000 followers on Grindhouse Supply's Instagram, my boys over at Grindhouse, here's their IG, Grindhouse Supply, GRNDHAUS Supply on Instagram. They were at 942 or 943 followers, and I said, if you guys can get Grindhouse to 1K followers on IG, I'd drop a Moon Man. And in a couple hours, you guys had them from 942 above 1,000 followers. So, man of my word, I came on and dropped. I forced out another Moon Man. So now we have 6. Here are your Moon Men.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Charbonnet, Watson are the 2 newest additions.
Space Monsters.
And let me just real quickly talk about each one. Bijan Robinson, potentially, I say could be the number 1 overall player in fantasy football Dynasty walking into 2023. Like if I'm going to start a draft, I might draft JJ or Jamar Chase or Bijan Robinson or Breece Hall. I love all 4 of those players as my starting point, if you will, of a Dynasty team. So I love Bijan. As for the other names,
the Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Garrett Wilson was the second name to drop, and these aren't in a particular order necessarily yet.
Space Monsters.
Space Monsters, indeed. I may rank them at some point. I don't know yet, but they're kind of just they're being dropped in order, not necessarily in terms of impact. Garrett Wilson, I think, could be a top 6 to 10 wide receiver in 2023. Much will depend on who his signal caller is, but I talk about all the time that his quarterback, in my opinion, could very well be one of these 2 gentlemen, or Lamar, Brady, or A-Rod. I have it empty right here because we went over just on the last stream. We went over some scenarios, and I said I feel kind of like Lamar or Brady in Miami if Brady doesn't hang it up, or A-Rod or Brady. Maybe Brady announces tomorrow he's hanging it up. I don't know. You might be watching this, and I'm pre-recording this in the evening, walking into the Tuesday morning. He might announce he's hanging it up, but if he doesn't hang it up tomorrow morning after this starts playing, or before this starts playing, Brady to Miami or Brady to the Raiders. Brady to the Jets is a possibility too, I suppose. Let me put that down here just as a possibility. We'll put Brady right here. These are all in the cards, in my opinion. And so in the case of Garrett Wilson, let's say he gets Lamar, or let's say he gets Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, or I don't know, worst case scenario, Derek Carr, who we know isn't the best quarterback in the world. He's taken nobody to a Super Bowl, but he delivered the football just fine to Devontae Adams. So I believe the Jets will be okay at the end of the day. I think they bring in somebody very good. They have an amazing defense. They have one of the best running backs in the entire National Football League in Breece Hall. They have Garrett Wilson. They have an amazing wide receiver corp. It's an attractive place. It's a great market. It's a great team to play for. I know everyone says it's the Jets. The Jets are turning it around, and I think an amazing quarterback is going to know that. So I think they're going to get a lot of people interested in this job at the quarterback position, and so therefore Garrett Wilson, in my mind, super safe as a 6 to 10 QB.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
When people use that "who's throwing to Garrett Wilson" comment to try and drag down this prediction,
Space Monsters,
or say that, well, Smitty, how can you feel this way? Part of the reason I love the prediction is because in like Dynasty right now, before we know what's going on, before we know what time it is in New York, that's time to strike. That's when Garrett Wilson's value is going to be, at its most vulnerable. And so this isn't a time to sit back and say, when's Captain Obvious kick in? And we know exactly what's going on in New York. And then you start ranking Garrett Wilson high. That's not how fantasy football works. So we're being predictive. Olave, same thing. Quarterback upgrade, probably likely. And even if it isn't, the guy's so dynamic. He can run the ball. He can obviously catch and be an amazing air yard wide receiver. He was leading the NFL in air yards. There was more yardage under, and that's a lot to do with Winston. More yards in between him and his quarterback than anybody else in the National Football League. And this guy, Chris Olave, had a change in quarterback, and it was a constant movement, constant chaos in New Orleans. And what did he do? He still did well. He did well as a possession wide receiver, a sideline wide receiver, catching the footballs from different points all over the field. And when Winston was in there, he was a field stretcher. So he kind of like groomed all assets and facets of his game. All the intangibles this guy brings to the table, he was able to fine tune them all because he got to play a little bit different of a wide receiver throughout the season. So I love him. As for Gibbs, landing spot's going to be critical for him, but he does feel like the next Alvin Kamara, catches the football amazingly. He's pretty big for his size, even though he's about 200 pounds, 5'11". He might even measure in a tiny bit under that. It might be like 5'10 and a half or something like that. They always stretch it a little bit on the college stat sheets and profiles. But I would say Gibbs is looking very, very likely to land in a spot where a team needs him, because even though he's not going to go as high as Bijan Robinson in a draft, and so if we use the board here, the NFL draft order, Bijan's going in this top 10. That means no one's messing around. They draft Bijan, they're drafting him to start. You don't use a top 10 pick on a running back you barely need. Whereas all the other running backs are going to fall toward the end of the round 1 or beginning of round 2. Probably only one running back goes between like 28 and 35. But that will probably be Gibbs, and Gibbs could go on the front end of that. And that's still a point where maybe a team drafts a running back they don't quite need, but they kind of need. But I think he falls into a good spot. A great place would be the Eagles. A great place would be the Buffalo Bills. Those would all be good landing spots. I could see Gibbs falling in a place like that. He's so talented. So hopefully landing spot doesn't screw up his value, but I'll adjust accordingly if that happens. But I like being ahead of the curve on it because I'm predicting a good landing spot. I feel like it will be a good landing spot. I feel like Gibbs and Bijan will both go so high, Bijan especially, they will by default find good homes.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Charbonnet needs a good landing spot, but watch film on him.
Space Monsters.
I mean, when you watch this space monster on the field, he's like Marshawn Lynch met Derrick Henry, and it's like he just can't be tackled. And in the right spot, he's going to just be a bulldozer. So watch film on him if you haven't. And Christian Watson, again, we could say the old Smitty, but what if A-Rod doesn't return? Look, that's part of the intrigue here, and why you're going to be able to steal him away. And if, let's say, it is Jordan Love throwing him the football, I think he'll survive. Those are the Moon Men. I just wanted to go over that briefly. And I guess the next thing I want to do for the remainder of the show, again, it won't be the longest show today and tomorrow by the time you're watching this today and Wednesday, the 2 days that I'll be on vacation. Let's go to the board here. Let's go to the marker board. I want to identify real quickly. Actually, you know what? Let's play that game. Scratch this. Let's go to which side? Not Swift. It was Burrow, and I already answered this question. Who do I like more in redraft and Dynasty? Same answer. Joseph Cigar Smoking Burrow. There were a couple questions I got asked earlier that were really good. One was Jacobs, and who is the RB that someone asked me? Let me pull up a ranking list to remind me. was Jacobs and it was a good one. Jacobs and oh, yes. This one's so hard. JT or Jacobs? Which player do I like better? Obviously, if we find out that Jacobs is going to a really good location, and I can't even think of what location that's going to be right now. The teams that need RBs, let's go over them real quick. Let's go over the teams that need RBs. Let's try and map out. This will be good. This won't be a long show, but we're getting topics, just going through this at random. What are the landing spots for Josh Jacobs? Let's map them out. Let's go. Let's just pull up the NFL standings and just look at all the teams in the NFL. Let's go straight down. Let's start with the AFC East. Bills. Let's put yes in terms of like amazing amazing fits. They want an RB. This is a maybe, and this is a no. So Bills. I mean, they're probably happy with Cook. I mean, a lot depends on how things shake out. I'll say Buffalo's a maybe. They would kick the tires. Miami. Why not? I'm not saying it'll happen, but Mike's aggressive. So we'll put Miami as a potential yes, like a good fit. Patriots, no. New York Jets, no. And again, this is for Jacobs. Jacobs landing spot. Jacobs landing spot. It's kind of hard to read. I'm writing it underneath this monitor. This is why it's like weird. Jacobs landing. You can't see it, but this is actually I'm writing underneath a monitor, the angle of the camera. Jacobs landing spot. So Jets, no, that's 4 teams from the AFC East. Let's go to the AFC North. Bengals. I mean, look, they could explore it. I'm not Mixon, depending on how Mixon looks out in the playoffs, like they may explore it. We'll put them as a no for now, but they could easily flip into a maybe. Ravens, no. I don't think so. Pittsburgh, no. Cleveland, no. And if you disagree with me on any of these in the chat, leave a comment. It'll be a good conversation while I'm away. I'll check the comments. Don't worry. Jacksonville, no. Better not. Please no. Please no. Don't do it. Don't do it. Jacksonville. Titans, Tennessee, no. Indianapolis, no. Houston, probably not. I know they like Pierce a lot. I don't think that they would make this move, though. In the middle of rebuild mode. Houston, no. KC, you never know, but I'd say no. Chargers, no. Raiders, I mean, he could return. I'd say Las Vegas is probably the most likely to be yes, at this point from all these teams that we're reading off. Broncos, no. Denver, can you read that? Denver. Philly. Maybe. Dallas? No. Giants? No. Commanders? No. Can't even read that. New York Giants. Washington. Vikings, no. Lions, no. I mean, they love to run, but Green Bay, no. Chicago, no. Well, Monty's a free agent. They could look at it. They could kick the tires at least. Tampa Bay, no. Carolina, I mean, they could kick the tires. You never know. Saints, I don't know. I mean, you don't know what's going on with Kamara. Falcons, probably not. Probably not. Niners, no. Seahawks, no. They better not. And the Cardinals, I think they could look into this. They could kick the tires. Quite honestly, I wasn't expecting it to be so little teams in need of an RB. These teams are going to be in the Bijan race. Philly, Buffalo. Well, Buffalo would have to trade out Buffalo. So Philly, Carolina, Arizona are going to be in the Bijan Robinson race. So that will take one of those off. I believe one of those teams will be in the Jahmyr Gibbs race as well. Miami, Las Vegas. This could be a Josh Jacobs returning to Las Vegas. I mean, just looking at it, unless it's Chicago, I don't think Chicago is going to be. They're in rebuild mode. Carolina, I don't think they're expecting to win right now to the point where they're spending the big bucks on a Josh Jacobs. New Orleans, I don't think so. Arizona, maybe. Philly, maybe. Buffalo, maybe. It really is Las Vegas and Miami for Josh Jacobs. I mean, am I wrong? I might be. It's late. It's late. If I'm wrong, say it in the comments. If I missed something, I could have skipped over a team. I'm pretty sure we just mapped out the running back needy teams, and it doesn't feel really good. I mean, I'm looking at these teams again. Chargers, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, Baltimore. I guess Baltimore, you never know. Seattle, no. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. Jacobs has a really strong chance of resigning in Las Vegas. He might hit the free agency market and see, like, there's nobody there. There's nobody shopping. So back to the game, to answer this question. I probably would bank on him returning to the Raiders at this point. Looking at that, what a sidestep, right? That was kind of fun. Give me JT. I know it's really hard to believe in JT. It really is hard to believe in JT. But if I had to choose at this juncture without knowing where he's going, not saying he's a 1-year wonder necessarily. He's played in the league a while. It's not like I just don't know that I trust Jacobs yet, especially if he might be moving teams and maybe going to some weird situation. And I don't know that yet. And we got to be preemptive here. We have to be predictive. And I'm trying to predict, and I can't feel comfortable predicting him in a good spot. So I'm going to lean JT. JT is going to be a curious case of, is he a second rounder? Is he an early second round pick, a late second round pick? Is someone going to take him at the bottom of round one? Could he be a mover, an offseason mover, where he goes from like 2.10 all the way up to 1.12? Like, I don't know. No one knows what to expect for JT walking in. Let's do this last one. This will be about a 20, 25-minute show, which isn't bad considering it's pre-recorded here. Kyle Pitts or no, let's do a rookie. Let's do Jahmyr Gibbs versus Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders, Zeke Elliott. You could throw a bunch of RBs that I feel like I'm not going to trust. Now, granted, Sanders could blow up on out of the playoffs, and have an amazing run, or he could do nothing in the playoffs, and then everybody says this is an easy call anyway. But I think I'm going to start drafting. The reason I brought this up is, where do you draft Gibbs in redraft? What RBs do you stick him in front of? And I'm looking at a list right here, and when you get to like Nick Chubb, we don't know what to expect out of Nick Chubb next year, but when you get to like Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, what do you do? What do you do when you're looking at a young running back like Gibbs? Let's say he lands in Philly. I'm taking Gibbs in Philly over a Chubb, who I don't know what he's going to play like next year. A Dalvin Cook, I don't know what he's going to look like next year. Alvin Kamara, I don't know what he's going to look like next year, and he could be suspended. That puts Gibbs as a rookie running back, which is why he's on the Moon Men list. Gibbs is a rookie running back in redraft inside potentially the top 10 RBs in 2023. So give me Gibby, and that's why he is a Moon Man.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Space Monsters.
Thank you all for joining me for this episode, this pre-recorded premiere. And maybe I'm in the chat right now. I don't know. I'm live Monday through Friday, every single Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, unless I'm on vacation 2 or 3 days a year. Live whenever news breaks. Even if I'm on vacation, if something crazy happens, I'll go live from my phone right next to Mickey and Donald. Let me get these Gibbs and Sanders off screen here. And, I go live pretty much every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night at midnight. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that in Disney. I don't know yet. Appreciate you all. I will see you all later. And I don't know if I'll do another show for Wednesday pre-recorded or not. Peace out.